Also, if anyone doubts that extremists are not involved in this under the guise of patriotism, let me be clear. The vast, vast majority of Arizonans and America wants what I just said and are not extreme. They're frustrated about Congress's inaction, they're frustrated about the actions of a few here at the state that led this to further their own political careers. But there are extremists, armed extremists, that put our officers as well as our citizens and residents in danger. And it's not just along the border. This was, a year ago, proudly displayed, and I want the world, I want the nation to see it. It says, "Hooray for the slaughtering of the illegals, boo to the beaners," and a swastika. This name that I'll cover is an officer that picked this up at the rally. This was delivered to my office, left for me, yesterday. Traitor to Arizona and America. Now remember, we're in 2010. You politicians care more about the welfare of foreign nationals than the safety and the jobs and the future of your own citizens. That's treason. Treason. Each of you should be arrested, tried in court, found guilty of treason, and let me emphasize, and hanged from the nearest tree. Death to traitors. Can you put it this way? We'll make these available if you want. Okay, this is America, this is Arizona, and this is 2010. We're not going backwards, we need to go forwards. So we'll fight this. Shakira brought somebody that is the most distinguished and the most knowledgeable that will take us back briefly to the 1930s and 40s in Europe. And that country is Germany, the foremost expert in the world on the Holocaust. And what happens when society looks the other way, when society doesn't guard the minority rights as much as the majority rights. When individuals like my grandfather and grandmother came to this country, and if they would have been told to wait 5 years or 10 years and turned around, then my dad wouldn't have been here, my brothers and sisters, and my children, because the rest of my grandparents' family were exterminated by a 100% legal law in Nazi Germany that 100% of the nation supported at the time, except for those Jews and gypsies and those that were sick and others of minorities that were then put in concentration camps and executed. That's what is not going on here, but that's what this will lead to if we don't stop it now, both in the courts, thankfully for the court system, and for residents and citizens to truly understand what this law is about and not what it is called, the so-called do. So with that, I introduce you to Professor Michael Berenbaum, the foremost expert on the Holocaust and other matters related to it. Professor.
Michael Berenbaum. I'm Professor of Holocaust Studies at the American Jewish University in Los Angeles. Let me begin by saying four things very clearly and very quickly. First of all, thank you for your hospitality, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing your
name.
I'm a little nervous.
And thank you for inviting me. We are not Nazi Germany. This is not the Holocaust. But we are the United States of America. There can be no analogy to Nazi Germany, provided we always remain the United States of America. The United States of America has certain fundamental values that are absolutely distinct and different from the direction in which Nazism took. They include restraint on the power of government. They include respect for individual rights and for human dignity, and they include the idea that in times of economic dislocation and difficulty, we turn toward each other and not against one another. I've spent a lifetime studying what allows societies to disintegrate and to go from democracy to totalitarianism. And the most important thing is that when we come to a period of economic dislocation, when we come to a period of difficulty, when we come to a period of tension, we have to turn to the fundamental values of the nation. Fundamental values of the nation include the inalienable rights of human beings to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They include checks and balances. They include restraint on the power of government. And they include a sense that all human beings are created in the image of God and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. A nation that turns against one another is a nation in which the center disintegrates, stability becomes more difficult. A nation that turns toward one another, that embraces one another, that includes one another, that values and cherishes one another, is a nation that can withstand economic dislocation and that can withstand the difficulties of this time, come out of this stronger, wiser, better. And one of the things that many of us who are the descendants of immigrants have appreciated about the United States is that the United States is an amalgam of all of its people who have come to enjoy its freedom and who have had the ability, once enjoying its freedom, to reshape this society, to increase it, to improve it, to enrich it, and we have all learned to cherish it. So again, let me restate. We cannot speak of analogy to Nazi Germany, provided that and there is no analogy to Nazi Germany, provided that we return and remain vigilant with the fundamental values that are at the core of our national enterprise. Thank you.